The Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, is spending hundreds of billions of dollars to fund Huawei's 5G network in an attempt to lead the world in future communications. Many regions are pushing back, including Europe, the US, Japan, and Australia. Growing evidence indicates that the CCP's massive construction of 5G networks in China will only benefit Huawei at the cost of telecom carriers and users. With Huawei's decline, we see that the 5G race led by it is actually a big scam. In an interview in November 2020, China's former finance minister spoke about 5G, mainly about its financial investment. He said that by the end of 2020, China had invested a total of $230 billion in 5G, with 1 million new base stations by the end of 2021. The hundreds of billions of investments were already spent, but such a layout is very unreasonable. Operation cost is extremely high. We can't find uses for it. It will be difficult to absorb the cost in the future. 5G technology should be used for industrial internet. But currently, the technology isn't mature for industrial application. The former finance minister explained his point of view in simple terms. He said, "Now our country's 5G development is taking a different path. It's focused on civilian use and mainly on cell phones. Many are using 5G cell phones, but do you feel the difference? You don't feel it because 4G mobile phones allow you to watch high-definition and ultra-high-definition videos or 1080p without lagging. But it lags now if you watch videos with 4G cell phones because 4G has become slower now." He continued, "For individual users, 5G makes little sense, while for industrial use, China's 5G technology isn't mature. To set it up, 5G should be laid out in accordance with industrial needs. It can't be laid out like the 4G network. Yet currently, our 5G technology is far from being able to meet the high speed and mobile needs of industrial scenarios. China still needs a breakthrough in 5G technology. How long will this road take? No one knows." We are not sure why a former finance minister is so brave to unravel the 5G scam. To this day, the Communist Party still uses the achievements of Huawei and 5G technology as a propaganda item to inspire patriotic feelings among the Chinese people. The Ministry of Industry and Information Technology of China said on June 6 that China has entered a critical period of advancing large-scale applications of 5G technology, almost 3 years after the country greenlighted the commercial use of 5G in 2019. China's Central TV reported that so far, a total of 1.615 million 5G base stations have been built across China, with 654,000 added in 2021. The 5G network now covers all prefecture-level cities and county-level urban areas and 87% of township-level urban areas across the country. The number of 5G mobile phone users in China has exceeded 413 million. There are 2,400 5G and industrial internet projects under construction which have formed over 20,000 5G application scenarios. China's official reports show that the latest layout of 5G stations is still focused on civilian use, especially cell phone applications. In other words, the comments made by the former Chinese finance minister in 2020 are still valid in 2022. Namely, China's 5G network isn't useful at all and the future is unknown. Industry insiders in China have actually seen through the sham of the so-called 5G accomplishments long ago. China's former Minister of Industry and Information Technology said at a State Council press conference in 2019, "I'm still using a 4G phone, and it's enough to use a 4G phone because 80% of 5G will be for the industrial internet." The chairman of China Mobile, one of the 3 largest telecom operators in China, stated his concerns about 5G in a meeting in 2019. He said that the construction cost of 5G is still relatively high. One base station costs about 3 times that of 4G. Other difficulties include the chaotic 5G industry standards and the quality of 5G IoT chip, Internet of Things. The biggest headache is the electricity bill. Because the area a 5G base station covers is much smaller than that of a 4G, at least 3 or 4 times as many 5G base stations are needed in order to achieve the same coverage, and the total power consumption will be about 12 times that of 4G. According to information disclosed in China Mobile's financial report, its electricity bill in 2018 was about $3.7 billion. That was before the Chinese government initiated the commercial use of 5G. Once fully upgraded to 5G, China Mobile is projected to pay $44.2 billion in electricity bills. With a profit of $11.7 billion made in 2018, China Mobile most likely wouldn't be making enough profit to even cover its electricity bill. China Mobile is the largest telecom operator in China. In 2018, the profits of the other 2 carriers were $3.2 billion for China Telecom and $1.54 billion for China Unicom, respectively. If the price of electricity isn't lowered in the 5G era, these 3 telecom operators would suffer significant losses. If you watch our video of the power shortage in China in 2021, you would know that China's electricity rates will only go up, not down, in the next few years. At present, the biggest concern of telecom carriers might be that if the CCP insists on rolling out expensive 5G networks across the country, not only in densely populated parts of the country, but also in rural and remote places, the annual electricity cost of a 5G base station may be several times or even hundreds of times what local users are currently paying. The operators would end up facing an abyss of losses. Now that China's 3 major carriers have built 1.615 million 5G base stations at the behest of the government, there is a very big question as to whether the construction cost, the electricity, and the cost of operating and maintaining these base stations can be recovered. So far, all 3 major operators in China have chosen to shut down their 5G base stations during idle hours. China's commercial 4G has only been in place for about 5 years. It's now running into the 5G era at the CCP's instructions. For the operators, the investment cost of 4G hasn't yet been recovered. They now have to invest in a 5G network. One can only imagine the capital pressure they must have. Due to the high investment in operating costs, carriers have increased the price of 5G service packages significantly for both internet and cell phone users, hoping to quickly recover their investment costs. With Huawei in the lead, China's major cell phone makers have counted on 5G to drive sales. Carriers and cell phone makers have advertised it and promoted it all over the place. As a result, Chinese users who like to be trendy and compare themselves with others have upgraded their phones to 5G handsets and bought 5G service bundles before they know what 5G is. Chinese media reported in March 2022 that China's 3 major carriers had nearly 750 million subscribers to 5G service bundles and about 300 million subscribers to 5G networks. Now an increasing number of subscribers are noticing that 5G bundles are simply too expensive. They are looking to revert to affordable 4G packages only to find that operators no longer have low-cost 4G options. Users have no choice but to endure the expensive 5G packages. This is, however, affecting 4G users who have not yet switched. Take China Mobile's 5G bundles, for example. They include 7 tiers ranging from $20 to $90 per month. Previously, during the 4G era, users could spend less than $3 per month. Chinese users also find that there are too many places without 5G signals, or even if there are signals, they can't connect. This leads to a very poor experience. Many people have opted to turn off the 5G function of their cell phones. That is to say, the accomplishments of China as a 5G powerhouse are ultimately paid for by the average Chinese. According to the Chinese premier, there are 600 million people in China who earn less than $150 per month.
中国是一个人口众多的发展中国家，我们 人均年收入的平均水平是3万元人民币，但是有6亿人每个月的收入也就是1000元，1000元，在一个中等城市可能租房都困难，现在又碰到疫情。
At the same time, a vast number of users have gradually discovered the secret of the so-called 5G high speed, which is what the former Chinese finance minister said. The speed of 5G and 4G are similar, but the speed of 4G has been greatly reduced and many 4G base stations have also been closed. 4G signal and speed become poor as a result. Many netizens left complaints on China's social media Weibo, such as, "Other than faster video downloads, I don't see any other use for 5G. 5G packages are so expensive. The first thing I did when I got a 5G phone was to turn off 5G. What's the use of 5G except consuming power? China Unicom sneaked to upgrade my phone to 5G package, but my phone is a 4G phone without 5G functionality. The upgrade is useless." On a Quora-like website in China, there's a question, "Why do I feel the current 5G is a scam?" This question received more than 3,000 answers. One response was, "You're right, it's a scam by Huawei. Think about it. Why did the 4G speed drop dramatically after the release of 5G? 5G prices are more expensive than 4G and are more expensive compared to 3G and 4G when they were first released. Who is the biggest beneficiary of this? It might be used in government projects on a small scale, but its price is simply unacceptable to the grassroots. In order for Xway to make more money, the 4G speed is made similar to that of 3G. Isn't it obvious already?" Even in the industrial field, where 5G can increase data transmission speed and reduce latency, Chinese netizens have questioned it. If a car is disconnected from the internet, it will be out of control. Would you dare to drive it? If a surgical machine is disconnected from the internet, it will stop working. Do you dare to use it? If a file is disconnected from the internet and you won't be able to find it, do you dare to save the file in the cloud? Not to mention that the 5G promotional video has almost nothing to do with 5G technology. Even if those things in the promotional videos become realized, for things that stop working when connection fails, do you dare to use them? I don't, anyway. This user can be said to have cracked the CCP's state secrets using his common sense. In the past decade or so, until 2020, Huawei's cell phone business has seen almost continuous double-digit revenue growth and is its largest source of revenue and profit. In 2019, its cell phone business accounted for 54.4% of the total business. Large procurement orders from China's 3 largest telecom carriers are usually given to Communist Party-backed companies like Huawei and ZTE. For example, China Mobile released a total of 2 large 5G orders in October 2021. Huawei was its first recipient and ZTE the second. Previously, in June 2021, in bidding for a centralized procurement order of 5G equipment with a total value of $5.7 billion, Huawei won the largest share, accounting for 60% or $3.45 billion. Before the US sanctioned Huawei, more than half of every dollar earned by Huawei was from cell phones. Huawei's 5G phones were dumped overseas at low prices, but in mainland China, it took the route of high price, leveraging the power of the Chinese Communist government to vigorously promote 5G phones. Looking at Huawei's 5G layout, it is one of the major global 5G players alongside Qualcomm, Samsung, Ericsson, and Nokia. Since 2020, Huawei's handset business has plummeted as the US trade ban began to take effect. According to global smartphone sales data released by Omdia, Huawei's handset sales have fallen out of the top 10 in the fourth quarter of 2021. The use of 5G technology did not initially attract world attention, and not many countries have invested heavily in it. Telecom operators are prudent when facing the unclear business model brought by the new 5G technology, as the investment is large, the recovery is slow, and the risk is high. In the industrial sectors, most of the production equipment in the industrial IoT or Internet of Things does not need to move frequently. The current Wi-Fi technology can already address most of these application scenarios that don't involve high speed and extensive movement. Wi-Fi has a large bandwidth, fast speed, strong penetration, and low cost. In industrial scenarios with conventional mobile communication technologies, Wi-Fi can be the solution in a variety of relatively closed environments. Unless 5G technology costs less than Wi-Fi, there is no reason to use a more expensive solution. Huawei, a company with a Communist Party military background, has expanded to the world with 5G technology. It has not been market-oriented from the beginning, but has used concepts to lead the market. The CCP authorities have deployed huge amounts of capital and other resources to help Huawei expand around the world. It's apparently not to help develop communications around the world either, but to expand, penetrate, and control the world. Huawei jumps to the 5G layout despite the immaturity of the technology. The intention is that in the future, many countries would have to use it even if they didn't want to, because the infrastructure is dominated by Huawei. By then, even if the technology is not mature, customers could only wait for Huawei to slowly improve. So the development of 5G in various countries bears the marks of the planned economy of the CCP. Many countries do not necessarily need 5G, but they are afraid of lagging behind and being restrained by Huawei, a CCP-controlled company. It can be said that the whole world was dragged passively into the 5G race by Huawei. The West is now beginning to wake up to the fact that Huawei and ZTE are not high-tech companies in the usual sense. The CCP's dream is not to just use high-tech to monitor 1.4 billion Chinese people, but it is aimed at the whole world. If this trend is allowed to continue, the universal values of mankind will be undermined by the monitoring power of big data controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. On May 19th of this year, the Canadian government announced that companies must divest Huawei and ZTE equipment from 5G networks by 2024 and from 4G networks by 2027. While Canada is the last country in the Five Eyes Alliance to make a ban on Huawei's 5G, it also demonstrates that Western countries have said no to the CCP by 2022.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are announcing our intention to prohibit the inclusion of Huawei and ZTE's products and services in Canada's telecommunications systems. This follows a full review by our security agencies and in consultation with our closest allies. Let me be very clear. We will always protect the safety and security of Canadians and will take any actions necessary to safeguard our telecommunication infrastructure. Telecommunication companies in Canada will not be permitted to include in their networks products or services that put our national security at risk. Providers who already have this equipment installed will be required to cease its use and remove it under the plans we are announcing today.
We must recognize that our economic choices have consequences for our security. Freedom is more important than free trade. The protection of our values is more important than profit. Natural gas, meaning we can buy as much. Trade with China, of course, there are huge benefits. I'm not arguing against trading with China, but I'm saying that, for instance, the control over 5G networks is of vital security importance. And we cannot say that in the interest of profits and free trade, we just open up those networks also for suppliers that actually are not reliable when it comes to our security.
Beijing has also made no secret of the fact that it is in the forefront of expressing its strong dissatisfaction on behalf of Huawei, a private company it claims to be. In the absence of any conclusive evidence, the Canadian side used trumped-up security risks as an excuse to exclude relevant Chinese companies from the Canadian market. This move completely violates the principles of market economy and free trade rules and seriously damages the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese companies. China firmly opposes this and will conduct a comprehensive and serious assessment. We will take all necessary measures to safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese enterprises. The 5G race initiated by the CCP and Huawei may be recognized in the future as a massive scam that has deceived the world and hurt the Chinese people whose wallets are now getting smaller and smaller.